Thank you all very much. I'm not going to talk very long tonight, but there are a couple of very important things I do want to mention. First of all, I just want to say thank you, Judge Harrington, for that. Even though you almost forgot, I do appreciate you introducing me. Thank you so much. John Taylor, thank you so much for always including me in this event. It's a big honor for me to be up here along with our elected officials. It was nice to meet Congressman Tom Cotton. I don't know what's more annoying than he's 10 years younger than me or 2 inches tall, but either one I can pick. Look, I want to talk about, very quickly, two very important things. Money and unity. As far as money, there's this article, you may have seen it in Politico yesterday. It was called Last Call for State Parties. If you haven't seen it, you can look it up and read it. The article was about the recent phenomenon of the role that was played by state parties being taken over in a lot of cases by third-party groups. And also about the competitiveness, examples of state like Mississippi, that state parties have with elected officials. But we're so glad that we got law work for elected. Now, I'll give you an example in numbers very quickly. In Mississippi, that goes to what we're talking about. Mainly with the land. In 1974, 40 years ago, when Haley Barber was executive director of the party and Clark Reed was chairman, sometimes I think about, I wish I was around here. Now, I bet that was a fun office to be in. The URL, United Republican, brought in every month 100% of what the party spent. So we had incoming, 1974-ish, the same amount we were spending. The low point, not too long ago, was a little bit over 10%, about 12%. So we went from 100% to 12%. Now, because of a lot of the help of the people in this room, we went back up to about 20%. We're all fighting to get back up. And I think, we can sit around and talk about whose fault it is. I think it's a product of our success. I really do. But we need a party infrastructure now more than ever. We are the entity that never stops. We don't have to stop and run the government like the governor and the lieutenant governor and all the other elected officials. We're going all the time, trying to stay organized, trying to raise money, trying to get the most updated data and stuff like that. So, I would just ask you, if you're not a member of the URL for $20 a month, or $50 or $100 or whatever, please make a point. Maybe by the end of the night, this week or this month, to check, see if you are. If you aren't, please be a member. We've got to do the party a favor when we all hand it off. Let's get it back up to the 100% that it was 40 years ago. Now, let me say something about unity. Y'all may have heard we've got a primary for the United States Senate. And, one of the things, and I say a lot of times I get asked about it, and has the added benefit of being the truth, is that's part of being a growing party, part of being successful. We're going to have robust disagreements about issues and policies, sometimes principles and sometimes candidates. But we can do that the right way, and we can do it the wrong way. And we know the difference. We all do. And you think about some of the things you see in campaigns. We can talk about each other's records, but we know what we have to avoid. We have to avoid getting personal, violating Reagan's 11th commandment. We have to avoid distorting people's records, doing things like taking the word "not" out and things like that. I think we all know what we see. But we've got to all work together to avoid that. The other thing we've got to do, and this is a very serious thing, we've got to avoid instigating, being baited into, or throwing kerosene on, dividing our party into different groups for our own personal benefit. This whole business about this whole business about the Tea Party and establishment, let me tell you something. You know what group we need out of those two? Both of them. I've traveled all around the state as as much as, I think as much as anybody in the last couple of years. And I've met with some of the most hardworking, best intentioned folks that call themselves Tea Party members, all kind of different folks around the state. They're as excited about anybody about being in the fold and being part of this party and working hard. We need them to be in the party. And the establishment, that's not a dirty word. Let me tell you something. They established what we're looking at in this room right now. If we didn't have those people, we wouldn't have this. So when I think about the people like Billy Munger and Billy Cowell and Ward Gerber and the Pickering family, the Barber family, Judge Herring, Phil Bryan, Trent Lott, Adcock, and then I think about the new generation, Tate Reeves, Philip Gunn, and all these people. I get excited. I want to go pat on Greg Harper. I want to go pat him on the back and tell him thank you for establishing what we have. That's not a dirty word. That's something we ought to be proud of. Let me just finish by saying this. We need to realize the line that I ripped off from Jim Herring, every now and then I'll attribute to, that we all come to go, but the party's here forever. And we've got to remember that. And realize that at the end of the day, it's not just good enough to win the argument. We've got to win the election. We've got to get elected and implement our policies. The person that I'm about to introduce is why we all be optimistic about what's ahead of us. We see what happens when we elect Republicans, the House and the Senate, the governor's office. There's not only the leader of our party, but the leader of our state. Why am I optimistic? I'll tell you. Because, and I get to introduce the governor a lot, and it's always an honor for me. But the reason that he's the right person is because he's literally the right person in our time for three reasons. Number one, from a policy standpoint, he can say, look at the scoreboard. It seems like every day, both within the state and outside of the state, there's some new award. We're no longer 49th or 50th, but we're getting something in the top 10, in the top something. We'd like to be number one, I know that. But you're breaking ground or cutting the ribbon on something else. So it's not this intangible stuff which we have, but it's stuff we get to kick the tires on that's happening. The governor, lieutenant governor, the speaker working hard together. The other thing is, so not only policies and politics, the governor's got credibility across the aisle with everybody. When I say I mean every part of the Republican, every corner of the Republican Party. The governor has helped hold us together. And that's something I know he'll keep doing. But the most important reason that I like to introduce him is because of the kind of man he is. You know, one of the biggest compliments you can give somebody is the definition of character, which is what you do when nobody's watching. And what Phil Bryan does when you're not watching, it's the same things when you are. And I think that is the biggest compliment you can give, not only a politician, but a person. And so I want to just introduce to you somebody that's not only my governor and the leader of our party, but he's my friend. Let's all rise and welcome our governor, Bill.